Look at this. 14 months later, here we are. Incredible. I mean, the last 14 months has meant different things to different people. But I think most importantly, life and the show must go on. And here we are for the second annual. It feels so good to be here for the St. Joe's Athletic Hall of Fame night. Give yourself a round of applause. My name is Jimmy Gallo. I followed a lot of the great stories that are here tonight. Gene Katz, Ronnie Girault. I too had a similar story of coming here as a great athlete from Rockland County. Well, I came here from Rockland County. But I've spent the last 25 years of my career working in TV at all different levels, pro sports, college sports, but most people associate me with the 20 years that I put in broadcasting high school sports. And I had a lot of great days here, man. It was fantastic. Behind the mic for SJR. I mean, amazing. I often used to tell people I'm in the business of making memories, really. I mean, that's really what it came down to us at MSG. We put so much into it. It was a mainstream production, and we knew that those athletes would take that. Well, I mean, I'll date myself. It started with VHS tapes, and then it went to DVDs. And then it went to like a flash drive, and then it ended up lately. It's just a link. I mean, it's amazing, but memories is what it's all about. And really, some of the greatest memories I have, I saw some of those guys here tonight. Guys that I went to high school with, Mike Negley, Keith Connolly, Alan Plescia. And I know you guys in the room also share that. I mean, let's face it, no matter where you are in life, no matter where you go, the green and gold is with you. And I don't mean your attire. Once you come out of here, it is SJR for life. So now we turn our attention to the issue at hand here tonight. We salute the exceptional accomplishments of 9 individuals. 9 individuals and 2 remarkable teams who have all made significant contributions to the legacy of the SJR athletic program. You know, when we convened our first Athletic Hall of Fame 2 years ago, May 4th, 2019, who could have imagined the pandemic would come a year later, wipe out the spring, the entire 2020 spring sports season? You know, that was tough, a devastating blow to all those teams. And, you know, we're standing here talking about memories, and any athlete will remember sort of that vacancy they had in their high school athletic career, because high school sports is really a journey. You know, you start as a freshman, you come as a freshman, and you play freshman sports here at St. Joe's, and then as a sophomore, you know, generally speaking, you try and crack that JV, or if you're lucky enough up to the varsity. But it really is a journey. Those kids had that little hole. But life, you know, marches on. It really came on the heels of a spectacular winter season for St. Joe's. The Green Knights won the Bergen County Jamboree in basketball at 5th. Speaking of basketball, tonight we're going to celebrate their first Jamboree title. One of the toughest things to win in sports is a Jamboree title. I mean, Bergen County does a great job of sort of putting all these teams in a hopper, and it is last man standing, and St. Joe's has won 5 of them. The Green Knights, of course, on the ice hockey circuit, won the Big North and the Egan Cups. On the wrestling mat, our wrestlers won the district and regional titles. And Jimmy Mullen became the first freshman ever, really the nastiest freshman on the planet, right? I mean, to win a New Jersey State wrestling title in the heavyweight division as a freshman, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. SJR was poised for greatness in the spring, as both the baseball and lacrosse teams were preseason favorites. Didn't happen. This year, the pandemic affected each program differently. SJR football had a great season under the new skipper. Where is he? Dan Morangi. Fantastic. They went 6-2, finished as number 16 in the state. Notre Dame bound Audric Estime was named Gatorade Player of the Year. You can't take that away from him, I'll tell you that much. You guys know, too, he'll be bringing that up for a long time. Barbecues like 40 years from now. You know I was Gatorade Player of the Year, right? Okay, come on. No, really. Soccer posted a 6-6 mark that included a remarkable 2-1 comeback win over Don Bosco in the States. Green Knights would score in the final 5 minutes of play twice. Well, COVID limited the basketball team to just 5 games and likewise cut the wrestling season down to just 5 matches. Though the Green Knights excelled in the reconfigured state tournament, placing 6 wrestlers on the medalist podium. The aforementioned Jimmy Mullen will represent SJR and the United States of America at the United World Wrestling Competition in Budapest this summer after winning the national crown in April. Nothing is stopping Jimmy Mullen. We're going to talk some hockey tonight. And the hockey team returned to the Gordon Division for the first time in 20 years, played 15 games. They ended the season ranked among the top 10 programs in New Jersey. And thus far this spring, baseball team, 19-0, ranked number 1 in Bergen County. Golf team under the direction of Coach Kevin Rooney from the class of 2002 finished 19-2 and ranked 2nd in the county. Team captured SJR's first state sectional title since 2006. Nice job, Coach Rooney. Listen, St. Joe's, when you look around, one thing I always tell people is, many times I meet people and they have a, 6th grader, 7th grader, 8th grader, and they're deciding where their kid's going to go, and undoubtedly it comes down to the big 3. And I always say, have you ever seen the facility at St. Joe's now? You ever go up there and look? And when you look at this place now, we stand in this spectacular theater tonight. You walk out to the fields, the rolling hills, the football field. You go up to the top of the hill. It's amazing. And this complex is really due in part to a labor of love to a lot of people. And these guys really, not only do they do it on a month-to-month, year-to-year basis, but they help so much with this event tonight. So I want to begin tonight's celebration to thank our event sponsors. Our cocktail reception was sponsored was Mr. Joe Scott, Mayridge Construction. I had a lot of great days watching his son swinging around the ball field. Jersey Joe Scott, man. Fantastic. Our presenting partner, Mr. Jim Gardella, Professional Insurance Associates. Our green and gold sponsor, AKA Negs, Mr. Mike Negley. Negley Engineering Class of 84. We're really grateful for the long-standing support of St. Joe's. So at this time, we're going to get the show on the road. I'm going to ask Mr. Kevin McNulty, President of St. Joseph's Regional, to come on up here and lead us in prayer, everybody. Kevin McNulty.
To pray after all that. It's amazing to see so many people here in celebration tonight. It just warms my heart. So let us remember that we are in the holy presence of God. Lord, we pray in gratitude for the long and rich traditions at St. Joe's. We're grateful for all the teachers and mentors and coaches who helped form us, in particular the Zavarian brothers who founded the school and shared with us not only their love for learning, but their love for play. St. Paul reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, do you not know that all the runners in the stadium run in the race, but only one wins the prize? Run so as to win. We pray tonight for all those who entered into the contest, who reveled in the joy of play and competition, and those who won. We also pause to remember those who have preceded us for their final reward. Brother Tom Reedy, Michael Bertolino, Bobby Keene.
It's been a long day without you, my friend. And I tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. I tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Lord, we ask your blessing on all those who will be recognized tonight. They represent the pinnacle of success in their various competitions and contributions. St. Joseph, pray for us. Mary, our good mother, pray for us.
Kevin Kobe, everybody. So tonight we look back at our past, and acknowledge the accomplishments that have helped define SJR athletics. In assembling the Athletic Hall of Fame class in 2021, consideration was given to the nominations we received from the SJR community at large, really through an internet poll earlier this year, as well as the recommendations of the committee that included the school's last 3 athletic directors, the famous Brother William Cushing, Tony Karsich, and now, of course, in the able hands of Damion Logan. Thank you, guys. They were assisted, of course, by staff members, Mr. Barry Donnelly, great to see Barry, of course, back here as always, and Mike Doherty. So without any further ado, tonight's first honoree, Bykowsky. John was old school. Old school is multi-sport athletes. One of the greatest obstacles that parents face today when you have a young athlete is specialization. Because the coaching community before you get to high school wants you every day, all day, every week, every weekend for that sport, 12 months a year. John Bykowsky was an exceptional multi-sport athlete. He graduated in 1969. He was a member of the SJR football team and the 1969 track team of the century. Football, John was the leading offensive player during the 68 campaign when St. Joseph posted his first winning season, going 7-2. He was the Bergen records, athlete of the week on October 9, 1968, rushing for 230 yards and 3 touchdowns in a 20-0 St. Joe's win over Dickinson. He scored 22 career touchdowns, was a 2-time first-team All-League selection, 3rd-team All-County at halfback as a senior. John was also the first St. Joe's football player to receive a 4-year football scholarship, in this case, to the Eagles of Boston College. In track, John was the 1969 Indoor Meet of Champions winner in the 60-yard high hurdles, and he set the Eastern States track meet record with a time of 7.3 seconds. In spring track, he was the winner of the Bergen County Demi-Decathlon and set the Bergen County High School hurdle record at 13.9 seconds, which held for 16 years. He was invited as one of the nation's best to the Golden West Invitational meet in Sacramento, California, where he placed 3rd in the low hurdles and 5th in the high hurdles. He was a 2-time first-team All-County selection in track and a proud member of the 69 track team that was named Bergen County All-Decade and All-Century team, as well as the best high school track team of the millennium by Track and Field magazine. Legendary SJR track coach Bob Murphy and his wife Judy called John a standout, and not just because of his natural athletic ability, but also because of his personality and his love of life. He was easily inspired and therefore inspiring. Always had the willingness to put in the time, endure the pain, the fight every day to be better than the day before. We're proud to have known him not only as an athlete, but also as a friend, and now a member of the St. Joseph Regional Athletic Hall of Fame. John, of course, went on to play football and run track at Boston College, where he was the New England Collegiate Indoor and Outdoor High Hurdle Champion sophomore year. He set a meet record of the Indoor Championships and qualified for the 71 NCAA Indoor National Championships. He also, by the way, scored 2 touchdowns as a sophomore wide receiver for the BC Eagles before suffering a career-ending injury. Not bad. Ladies and gentlemen, John's brother Mark from the class of 72 will present him with his Hall of Fame sweater. Please welcome the newest member to the SJR Athletic Hall of Fame, John Bykowsky.
Never lose your quick feet. That's what my daddy said. Okay? And he also said you gotta know your history to know where you are today. I know we have a great football team here today, but I gotta tell you a little bit about the past. In 1965, I was a freshman here at St. Joe's. First time we had 4 classes, and for some reason they decided to play varsity football. Okay? Our first year, 0-9. Okay, we gave up 352 points in one season. Okay, it was bad. And there was this team from Oradell, Bergen, I can't even say their name. What is it? Bergen Catholic. Okay, they came here and they beat us 76-0. I remember sitting in the stands watching this. Oh my God, what's happening? You know, what are they going for? You know, and they beat us 76-0. The score at halftime was 60-0. The coaches got together at halftime and the brothers, and after calling the Vatican and give her permission, okay, they decided if Bergen Catholic scored any more touchdowns in the second half, they would only get 1 point for each touchdown. And by doing that, we kept the score down to 76-0. All right, it was good, but we didn't give up. We came back the next year. They were undefeated that year. The next year, they were undefeated. We won a 16-game win streak when they played us, and we felt good. We were going up and we had won 2 games, you know. And they were going to kick our asses again, okay? And the whole school showed up, the whole school. And man, you should have seen this. No, we didn't win, okay, but it was a close game, 20-13. It was tied most of the game, and we went home that day. And we knew we were on the map. Okay, we're on the map, baby. Okay, and then the year after that, we were 7-2, one of the best teams in the county, and we gave up 61 points in 9 games. And we went up to Ramsey, New Jersey, and we shut out the Iron Men and got St. Joe's first victory against those bastards from Gallo. That game was a springboard for us, you know, not just in football, in track. Okay, we didn't have a lot of athletic guys. I see all these athletes out there. Where did they come from? I go, you know, because we had skinny guys, we had tall skinny guys, we had medium skinny guys, we had little skinny guys, we had fat skinny guys. Even the fat guys were skinny. They was like, oh, we got nothing. But we had this coach. His name was Bob Murphy. He was a man. He got people out there. There were so many people coming out of the track. They looked like locusts going around, you know, at practice time. And so he would get the people to come out. And you know what? These guys should run in a circle. These guys should run in a circle. And so he comes to me. He goes, "Come on, Bykowsky, you're gonna run. You're gonna run track." I got get lost, you know. And so I was gonna do it. And then one day I went into the main locker room, and you know they got a row of lockers, and then they're backed up on another row of lockers, and at the end is like a little wall. And I walk into the locker room, and I look and I see in black magic marker graffiti. And we didn't do that at St. Joe's. We love this place. We don't write graffiti. And I look, and then I read the graffiti, and it says, "We love you, Murph." Okay? And I gotta tell you, I went through my adolescent defenses like a bullet, and I knew this was a wonderful man. You know, because high school boys don't write that kind of stuff, all right? And he was one of the best coaches that ever lived. I love him to death. And he can't be here today because he has Alzheimer's and is in a wheelchair. But he would be here with me. And, whoops. Lost it. All right. And he was a great coach. And I'm going to tell you, I know we got other coaches out there who are now, you know, guys become coaches. And he would yell like hell. And a lot of coaches yell like hell. But sometimes when I yell like hell, you go, "Oh, he hates me." But this guy, he saw something wonderful in every person. and he wanted you to be the best you can be. And when he yelled at you, you knew he cared about you, and that made you run like hell. You know, when you kid, you didn't want to let him down, and you did it. And then we had this team that was unbelievable. We had this great team. We had 2 shot putters on the team. They were three shot putters that wound up being on a national shot put relay record. But we had this one guy, Bob Brady. He was second to this guy, Steve Adams, who was always winning. And you didn't realize how good he was. And then all of a sudden, his senior year, the 2 of them were invited to the national championships in Sacramento, California. So this guy who was second place forever was one of the best 8 guys in the country. And that's the kind of team we had. And we'd show up at track meets, and I'd hear people say our name. And it was like we were Frankenstein. They would go, don't look them in the eye. Don't look those guys in the eye. Don't get them any mad in the eye. Okay, so anyway, I know we got to get going. So, you know, I went to the national, had that meet, and I ran in the low hurdles and the high hurdles. I came in third in the low hurdles. I was winning the high hurdles, and I hit a hurdle, and I lost. Okay, and I was upset. And that's life, that happened. I come back to go to graduation that same weekend. I walk into the gym, they're walking out playing pomp and circumstance, and after all the guys came up to me, Bykowsky, how'd you do? And I told them, you know, I came in 5th and everything, and I was disappointed. And they could tell. And they said to me, are you kidding? And they started patting me on the back. And they told me how proud they were of me. And I got to tell you, those pats on the back meant more to me than any pat on the back I ever got for scoring a touchdown or winning a race. And that's why I love this place. Okay? That's why I love this place. And we fight hard, we support each other, we care for each other, because that's who we are. We are St. Joe's!
John Bykowsky, everybody. Woo. That is the proverbial tough act to follow for our next recipient. Gallo, you ready? You're going to come up and sing if the Sinatra goes my way. I don't know what you're going to do. But this night is about multiple greatness when it comes to St. Joe's athletics. And our second recipient for the St. Joe's Athletic Hall of Fame from the class of 1998, Nick Gallo, everybody. Bykowsky was a multi-sport athlete. Nick Gallo was a multi-sport athlete. A 4-year member of both the football and baseball programs. Gallo was a standout in both. In football, Nick was a key member of the offensive line that powered the Green Knights to 3 consecutive state titles. 3 consecutive state titles. 95, 96, 97. Amazing. Besides Gallo, the O-line included St. Joe's greats Ray Lofredo, Edgar Puzio, Artie White, and some guy named Augie Hoffman. Love it. Gallo earned first-team All-League, first-team All-County, and All-State parochial honors for the year's work. But Nick made his mark in baseball, too, emerging from an injury-riddled junior year to become one of the top pitchers of Bergen County. He helped St. Joe's complete the most remarkable baseball season in school history as the Green Knights finished 30-3 and captured the vaunted Triple Crown, League, County, and the state championship. Yes, sir. According to Coach Frank Salvano, Nick solidified his place in SJR baseball legend with 2 of the most remarkable performances under the ultimate level of pressure. He helped the Green Knights advance to the States with a complete game win over Don Bosco Tech and Hudson Catholic in the first 2 rounds. Then on May 30th, 1998, he completed a 9-inning masterpiece in the Bergen County Finals, defeating the Crusaders of Bergen Catholic 2-1. Logan to St. Joe's War, Nick Gallo. He was a 5-hitter on that day, shut him down, and a week later, he would duplicate the feat, defeating Bishop Eustace 2-1 for the New Jersey State Championship with the ball in his hand once again. Amazing. It was a performance for the ages that prompted one of his coaches, Jim Huebner, not one to lavish praise lightly, to post a photo of Nick on the bulletin board in his classroom for a number of years. The picture carried the caption, GOAT, greatest of all time in bold letters, long before that title was bestowed on Tom Brady and Michael Jordan. Coach Salvano said that what made Nick such a great pitcher was his intelligence. He didn't overpower you, but he had a great curveball, and he really knew how to pitch. He had a plan to attack every hitter. We called him the Bulldog because of his competitive nature and his mental toughness. But the bottom line is, he knew the game, knew his own stuff, knew how to set hitters up. He wasn't just someone who could throw hard. He was a pitcher's pitcher who knew exactly how to manage the game. Nick finished the year with a team-leading record of 9-1, a team-low ERA, an average of a strikeout per inning, first-team All-League, first-team All-County, and yes, first-team All-State, as well as Athlete of the Week. Nick will receive his Hall of Fame sweater tonight from his classmate, Ryan Gonzalez. Please welcome the newest member to the St. Joe's Hall of Fame, Nick Gallo, everybody.
Wow, it is something being here. It really is. First off, thank you to everybody, and congratulations to all the other inductees tonight. I don't think you guys really realize just what an honor this is and how humbling it is. Seeing so many old faces here. I can't believe the people that showed up here tonight. So happy to see everybody. I guess the 95 team this year is apropos that they are honoring that team tonight. That team kicked open so many doors for every student athlete at this school. Not only did they all go to the Wharton School of Business at Penn, every single one of them, they're unbelievable. But they were an unbelievable team. Every single student athlete who comes to this school from here on out, a small part of them comes from that team. That success carried over, not just to other football teams, but to other sports. They were amazing. From I guess just to wrap it up, this is going to be quick. From the legendary coaches that are here at this school, Coach Salvano, I love him back there. Coach Tony Garsich. To their incredible staffs, Jim Huggers and Steve Haywards and Walt Stolz. These guys were all legends. They really were. Taught us not only how to be great athletes, but to be good men. They really were, and they were impeccable at it. It's not just about them, though. At this particular school, it was about the people behind the scenes. It really was. From the faculty and the staff to the parents and the family, we were so loved and so supported here. We always felt welcome. It meant so much for all of us to be here. We have lifelong friends. my lifelong friend is here. Met him the first day in this auditorium. He had long hair down to his shoulders, shaved all on the sides. He was the first one to have that haircut, by the way. They all have it now, but you know, he's GQ now. He's like a banker or something. But this really was quite the honor, and so happy to be back here. So happy to see all my old friends. It's wonderful being home. Thank you so much.
One more time for Nick Gallo, everybody. I think any great coach at a place like this, you know, the one difference in parochial, non-public, whatever you want to call it, athletics is you don't really have a gauge of what's coming down the pike. You know, public school kids, when you grow up in a community and a kid, you know, is playing for the PAL and then he's in the junior high and he's predestined to go to the high school, those high school coaches know just what they're getting. It's not the case here. You know, sometimes a guy walks through the door and you're like, man, where did we get this cat? That's the story of Ron Girault, our next honoree. You're not spending time here as a St. Joe's football player knowing that there's a kid coming out of Rockland County who is really going to turn the fate of an entire team and kind of put him on his back with everything he could do on the field. That's just what Ron Girault was. He was a difference maker from Rockland County. And as many times as I sat down with Tony Carson to prepare for a game, when Ron Girault was on the team, the conversation sort of started and ended talking about the kind of player Ron Girault was. So tonight's third honoree, Ron Girault, class of 04, was a major part of 4 state football titles. As a junior, he really came into his own. He rushed for 1,151 yards, 17 touchdowns, a monster year. Gained over 1,840 yards on 221 carries, an average of 8 yards a carry with 24 touchdowns. That was his senior year. As a junior, he earned second team All-County and All-State. His team finished 9-3, won a state title, and ranked number 10 in the state. As a senior, first team All-League, first team All-County, All-State honors for a Green 19 that finished 10-2 and earned another state title. After rushing for 3 touchdowns against Holy Cross in the state semifinals, Ron Girault was the Records Athlete of the Week on December 16, 2003, rushing for 324 yards on 37 carries and 3 touchdowns in St. Joseph's 34-14 state championship victory over Camden Catholic. That's getting it done in the finals. Coach Tony Carson would call Ron Girault the heart and soul of our team. He excelled offensively as a tailback, but was equally accomplished on defense as a safety. He delivered one of the most crushing tackles people ever saw against Nutley, and it was at Rutgers. He had a very successful college at Rutgers. He would have an unbelievably successful college career as a D-back. Coach Carson went on to say, Ronnie stood out because he did things with leadership on and off the field. He led by example. He loved working with our younger players, having them watch what he did. At the same time, he was a modest player, quiet and classy. Really a tribute to his family who's with him here tonight. Hungry and humble was Ron Girault. He gets that from his mother, no doubt about it. A combination of toughness and leadership, coupled with his academic achievements, made Ron an exceptional student athlete. He was exactly the sort of young man you wanted to see represent your program. He was voted by the athletic community, coaching staff of 2004, and Class Student Athletes of the Year by his 2004 classmates. He was also the recipient of MSG's Heisman High School All-Star Award. I was there for that. Outstanding. Ron Girault also represented St. Joe's to the Rockland County community. Devin McCourty credits him with paving the way for other student athletes from Rockland County to come to St. Joe's for their high school careers. My brother and I attended Chestnut Ridge Middle School with Ronnie and Stanley Julian, Devin said, and when we saw Ron at St. Joe's with Stanley, it was a big reason why we followed them and became Green Knights. Gotta love that. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to welcome the newest recipient to the SJR Athletic Hall of Fame, Ron Girault. Ron is joined by his brother Jeff, who put the sweater on. Ladies and gentlemen, Ron Girault.
I'd like to start by congratulating all the fellow inductees from tonight: George, Gene, Jerry, John, Nick, Yomar, Paolo, Coach Salvano. I didn't have the opportunity of playing baseball, but I had you as my history teacher. And that class was truly, truly a perfect example of the academic rigor that St. Joe stood for. So, to the 81 basketball team, the 95 football team, it was truly special what you guys all did. You guys left a lasting impact on the St. Joe's community, so thank you and congratulations to you all. I'd like to start off by thanking God for providing me with the talent and ability to even play this game and be in the position that I'm in. So I'd like to thank him. I'd like to thank all of my coaches, all of my teammates from freshman year to sophomore year. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do any of this without you guys. Together, we were able to accomplish great things. So thank you for just being there every step of the way and just helping me along the way. I appreciate it all. I'd like to thank my family, my mother, my wonderful mother sitting over there, all the sacrifices you made throughout the years. I truly appreciate it. I mean, there's no way I'll ever be able to repay it, but thank you. My three older brothers, thank you guys for all the support. You guys be my support system throughout every step of the way. I thank you guys for the guidance, for just looking out for me, letting me tag along with you guys, for kind of honestly irresponsibly allowing me to play kill the carrier with you guys. I don't think it was a good idea for me to play with you and your friends who are all like 6, 8, 10 years older than me, but thank you, because that was the beginning of my love for football. So I thank you for that, guys, for that. Lastly, but not least, I'd like to thank the legend himself, Coach Karsich.
Yeah!
He is undoubtedly the greatest high school football coach New Jersey has ever seen. I might be a little off with my numbers, but when you have stats like his, it's kind of hard to keep track. He's had like 17 state titles, over 260 plus wins. I mean, he truly took this program to an elite level. So I'd like to thank him for that. He did an amazing thing. But outside of just being a great coach and, you know, being able to look at players and be like, all right, he's a great athlete, he can help me get wins, he actually cared for his players. He cared for me as more than just an athlete, as more than just a person who can get him more state titles and more wins, even though that's exactly what I did. I mean, as you heard, the 320-yard performance, 3 touchdowns and state titles was Camden Catholic. So things like that kind of made his job a little easier. But he truly did care for me as more than just an athlete. As a perfect example, I had great grades, I had good test scores, but no one I ever knew went to Ivy League. I didn't know anyone who was going to Ivy League. Just going to college was a big, like, just thing to do, a big accomplishment. He thought, you know, it'd be a good idea for me to take a visit to UPenn. So I did. You know, I took his suggestion, visited UPenn. It was a nice place. Also, no one I knew worked on Wall Street. I had no family members, none of my friends or family members or relatives worked on Wall Street. He thought it'd be a good idea if I took a trip down to Wall Street. So I was like, okay. One day at like 4 a.m, I had to meet him and his son. You know, met them, went down to his son's job because his son worked at Wall Street at the time. So I got to spend the day with him, shadowing him, you know, met some of his co-workers, went to his jobs, kind of see what he did for the day. And honestly, that experience will forever stick with me because it truly showed me that I never, ever wanted to walk on Wall Street. So, Coach, thank you for that. Truly, I am grateful for that and everything else you've done for me. They say coaches, at least the good ones, take players to places that they're unable to take themselves. So I thank you because you allowed us, everyone you coached, to truly be great. You've really brought the best out of us. So thank you.
Ron, yes, sir. Ron Girault, everybody. Ron Girault. Oh, yeah. Are we hot? I think my mic died. My mic dead? All right. One last thing about Ron Girault. I don't even know if my mic works, but Ron Girault. I know. I'm not in control. I'll just say this though. How many times during those great Rutgers years that Girault was on Rutgers and they're playing in all those high-profile ESPN games? One of the greatest parts of a guy staying home is when he makes a big play, and he made plenty of them for Shiano and Rutgers, is when they say, played his high school ball at St. Joe's Mount Vale. Fantastic. Are we back? I don't think so. All right, there it is. We're back. Maybe. I'll project. As we roll along here, the next member of the 2021 St. Joe's Athletic Hall of Fame, ladies and gentlemen, Yomar Gonzalez. Yomar Gonzalez led the way in a soccer renaissance, initiated by Al Coleman in 2000 and then directed by Coach Chris De Silva for the next 6 years in the late 2000s. As a freshman, Yomar led the team with 12 goals. As a freshman. As a sophomore, the overtime game winner in a 1-0 victory over Don Bosco Prep in the States. That's getting off to a good start, Yomar, in your high school career. As a junior, he would score 17 goals and have 13 assists. Second on the team that finished 15-5-2. He would have a hat trick that would propel SJR into the state sectional final against Del Barton, who eventually won the game on a penalty kick after a scoreless double overtime. And as a senior, Yomar set a school record with 27 goals. 27 goals in a high school season. That achievement would make him the all-time leading scorer in St. Joe's soccer history with 63 tallies for his career. Amazing. He also added 13 assists in leading St. Joe's to a 15-7 season. That is amazing. That's 13 assists in that senior year. With the 27, my St. Joe's math will tell me that's 40 points in a year. Not bad. That's it. That's it. All right, H, you're right. He was first team All-League, first team All-County selection in both his junior and senior years. Absolutely. He was a first team All-State honoree in 2003. Coach Chris De Silva called Yomar our difference maker. We could be up against it for a whole game, and he would come up with the big play when we needed it. What made Yomar a great player was his work ethic. He had a great talent, but he worked hard to make the most of it, both in terms of his physical training and the development of his soccer skills. He was an extremely unselfish player who was terrific on both sides of the ball. As a midfielder, he created a lot of offense for us, but he was so good defensively that in late stages of a game we would be winning, we often had Yomar drop back and bolster the defense. For him, it was always about the team. And that, of course, made him such a pleasure to coach. Yomar was courted by Seton Hall, Rutgers, and St. John's, but ultimately accepted a scholarship and played 4 years for the Pirates of Seton Hall Prep. Stayed home. Yomar will receive his Hall of Fame sweater from his father, Jorge. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member of the Hall of Fame, Yomar Gonzalez.
Well, you saw the highlights. Those 4 years here at St. Joe's were by far my favorite years in soccer. I mean, I played for the Red Bulls, I played for Seton Hall, but literally it was an outer body experience every time I played on top of that hill. Like, it wasn't because I enjoyed scoring. I love scoring and beating other teams, but it was just back to everyone else that mentioned, the faculty, the people around us. And just to backtrack a little bit, it was between Bosco, Bergen, and here, and I chose St. Joe's because the first time I walked down the hallway, I just felt that warmth, that welcomeness from everybody that I didn't see in Don Bosco or Bergen. So I'm highly proud to call myself, very proud to call myself the Green Knight. So yeah, I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank St. Joe's, my fellow inductees, Ron Girault, for the friendly competition and the morning announcements between me and him every day. Ron Girault, there you go. Go on, there you go. Back and forth. It was amazing. It just kept me going. Secondly, I want to thank my parents, my dad, Jorge, my mom, Soraya. I was born in Colombia and they sacrificed their entire lifetime to bring a better opportunity to us and my sister. lastly, just to wrap it up quickly, St. Joe's just brings this feeling of community, right? You still have lifetime friends. Buddies on the right-hand side over here, all welcoming you, supporting you. Still, after 20 years, we're still hanging out. We go to each other's weddings and all that. And I love you guys. But most importantly, quick little fun fact: my wife of 20 years. Well, we haven't been married for 20 years, but we've been dating for 20 years. I met her down the hallway, actually. And I St. Joe's Day, so that's what St. Joe's does. It brings people together. I couldn't say anything else, but I love the Green Knights. So Green Knights.
I mean, is that something? That has to be the stat of the night that Yomar met his wife here at St. Joe's. I tell you, I got to tell his coach he wasn't playing defense that night, baby. That's great. That's a great story. I mean, you have to be the only guy that ever did that in the history of this school. I better press on. I love the teammates theme, though, by the way. Just before we, I used to tell kids this same story all the time. We were doing a Thanksgiving football game. Greenwich was playing Darien in Connecticut. We were doing it live on MSG. And at the Wednesday practice before the Thanksgiving game, the Greenwich team was assembled. And Frank Gifford, the legend Frank Gifford, came down to talk to the team. And he gathered the Greenwich football team, and he said to them, he said, guys, I know I'm Cody, his son Cody. Remember from Regis and Catholic? Cody was on the team. I know I'm Cody's dad, but just to give you a little background, I'm Frank Gifford. I played many years in the National Football League. I won championships with the Giants. I was an All-American at USC. He goes, but I'd like to tell you about 10 guys. And he named 10 players. He named 10 names. He said, those are the 10 guys from my starting offense from my high school team. He goes, I swear to you, I could not name the starting 10 guys from USC or the Giants from both my championship years. He goes, these are the guys you will take with you for the rest of your life. And that's sort of the theme tonight when you hear these guys. It's amazing. It's about the teammates. And once you're a teammate, whether in just the hallways in school or on the same team, you take it with you for the rest of your life. I saw Paolo Mastropietro with a couple of his teammates tonight. When he was at St. Joe's, he was just Paul. Somewhere along the way, Paolo. And I got to say, he played football. He was part of a wonderful group of guys in football. But to me, when I walked into this school as a freshman, he was the first sort of superstar that I ever connected with at a school in an athletic arena, because he was that good on the wrestling match. He captured the headlines. He walked the hallways. You knew who he was. And tonight, you know who he is. He's the newest member of the SJR Athletic Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, Paolo Mastropietro. When you think about Paolo for the Hall of Fame, his classmates called him undoubtedly the best wrestler to take the mat for SJR in its early years. He really put the sport on the map for St. Joe's. We'd say they might be biased, except they're absolutely right. Paolo was a pioneer in the history of SJR wrestling, recording a number of firsts for the Green Knights. First wrestler in school history to earn first team All-County. First to bring home a region championship. During his senior year, he also became the first SJR wrestler to win the pin trophy at the Bergen County Coaches Association Christmas Tournament for most pins. Only 5 other SJR wrestlers have earned this recognition, none in the past 20 years. In his senior season, Paolo posted a record of 26-2, with his only 2 losses coming by a single point to the eventual state champ. He earned first-team All-League honors, received honorable mention on the All-County Wrestling as a junior in 1981. In 1982, he was voted first-team All-League, first-team All-County, first-team All-Suburban, voted SJR Most Valuable Wrestler. He led his team to the league title in Northern New Jersey, the Parochial Conference. Away from the wrestling room, Paolo was an accomplished student-athlete, taking honors classes throughout his time at SJR and earning his undergraduate degree from NYU and his law degree from Brooklyn Law School. A former professional actor, he's currently a successful entrepreneur who took over his father's business, True Manufacturing, and he has grown it tenfold. He is married to actress and singer Jill Hennessy, who's of course starred in Law & Order, Crossing Jordan on NBC. This is nice. He'll receive his Hall of Fame sweater from his friend, his classmate, and his teammate, Mike Mandillo. Ladies and gentlemen, Paolo Mastropietro.
Is this thing on? How come it doesn't say football up there? Yeah, but I played football for 4 years. I know. You know, when I came to St. Joe's, and still today, it's a football school. So nobody cared about wrestling. And, all my friends, my best friends from when I was 5 years old, but the friends I made here at St. Joe's were from the football team. So I told them, I'm not going to talk about wrestling. I'm going to talk about football today. And that seems to be the theme. And I don't think my football team is ever going to be nominated for the Hall of Fame. But they should be. So for the same reasons that I'm inducted into the Hall of Fame for wrestling. So number one, I want to thank everybody at St. Joe's, everybody who's responsible for getting me here today. And few people that are not here, I want to thank my parents. My mom is here. My dad unfortunately passed away. And just like Yomar said, they sacrificed everything in their lives to get us here. They're also immigrants, and they stressed education over everything. My sister's here. She's a doctor. My brother's here. He's an attorney, and I'm an attorney. And then there's another gentleman who passed away recently, is Mike Mandillo's dad, Mr. Ernie Mandillo. Many people here know him. Without Mr. Mandillo, those of us from Northdale have a lot to be thankful for Mr. Mandillo. Many of us probably wouldn't have finished school or come to high school without Mr. Mandillo. And Mr. Mandillo is responsible for most of us coming here, at least for me. My parents couldn't afford to come here, to send me here. I begged them, and Mr. Mandillo came and somehow got me in and got me a scholarship for 4 years, as well as my classmate and friend, Ernie Lugo, who went on to be an All-American in track and a doctor. So I want to thank Mr. Mandillo. And I also will get to another theme, which is the friendships with the coaches and the mentors that are here. And it's going to be tough to talk about, but I'll get to it after. But Bobby Keene, my coach, who made me, the wrestler that I became and the reason I'm here today. But when I first got the call, I was like, are you kidding me? Mr. Donnelly, I'm like, I don't deserve to be in the St. Joe's Hall of Fame. You heard the accolades, professional football players, professional baseball players, multi-state football champions, Damion, Logan, multi-state wrestler, All-American in Michigan. And I'm like, I didn't do any of that. But I called Mike McDonald, I called Joe Palughi, I called Al Gavin, and I received a call from Kevin Mandillo, who was also like a brother to me. And they convinced me that it's not only what we did, but in the era that we did it, it was a different time. And we kind of laid the groundwork for the level of excellence that would soon become nationally ranked sports across the board. We were great in football, baseball, basketball, hockey, soccer. We really didn't have a wrestling program to speak of. So I got to say that we started from nothing, and the first coach didn't really have a winning attitude. Bobby Keene came along very young and was an assistant coach and worked with the kids. And anybody that knows him knows that he only cared about the kids. He gave it 100%. He and I clicked, and every day we'd be on the mat together. I had great teammates from all around the area, some of whom wrestled their whole lives. My first day on the mats was my freshman year, but Bobby Keene worked with me my freshman year, my sophomore year, pushed me to be the captain my junior year, and really strategized. And I think one of the biggest victories was our junior year. We had no business beating Paramus, which at the time was a powerhouse team. And he strategized who had to win by 3 points, who had to pin, who had to not get pinned by their state champ, Neil Hamley. And it has to be one of the most exciting moments for us and for me. We were at Paramus and we won, I think, 27-24. And that week in the Bergen record, we were ranked in the top 5 teams of that week in the county. And from then on, it just made us feel like, wow, we could beat teams. And I went on to win some matches, all county. I don't believe that I deserve to be here today, but like Michael said, and like my friend said, we set up something that was the tradition of excellence. But once again, the friendships, the coaches, and the academics as well made it a special place for 4 years. I'm still friends with all these guys. I want to thank Damion Logan for reintroducing me. He called me a few years ago for the senior nights and for the alumni nights. And without him, I wouldn't be here today as well. He's also brought the wrestling program back to where it deserves to be, top notch. So keep up the good work. And thank you very much. I'm honored to be here.
Hello, Mastropietro, everybody. And by the way, Mastropietro was pretty modest there. I believe he was ranked tops in his class academically during those years. I believe that to be true. And when he said that he was on the mats with Bobby Keene, they literally, think about this, wrestled each other, the coach and the student. I mean, like Bobby Keene, God rest his soul, was all in. That's all I know about Bobby Keene. And Mandela, don't get me started on him, because I think he's the last St. Joe's guy to wear the neck guard on his uniform. It was incredible. I mean, when I look at him now, he struck fear. When I arrived here in freshman football, that class of guys was like, I mean, you looked at those guys, and he mentioned a bunch of them who were here tonight. It was like looking at the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, it was ridiculous. You know, we all know about Luke Whippler, his dad, Rob Whippler's here, the late, great Bobby Dinello, and just, you know, Palughi. And I mean, these guys, I mean, they did some work here, and they did set the tone that football was going to be a serious business. I mean, Mandela, he brought like the 3 H's, humor, maybe a little hazing, but I'm kidding. But listen, those guys, there was a separation between freshmen and juniors and seniors when it came to football back then, and you really looked up to those guys. And it was quite a sight. It was quite a sight, and they really did lay the groundwork. They laid the groundwork. You know, that's, you know, those guys are the class of '82, and then of course, you know, there's that wonderful fork in the road where, you know, Tony Karsich leaves Bergen Catholic. He becomes the Wolf of Wall Street for like a year or two, and then he comes here, in 1985. And from that day forward, the fate of St. Joe's football, had changed. And listen, Tony's here tonight, and I think we'll get him back here someday. And no doubt, he's having a cup of coffee at Bergen. You know what, Tony? I think all of us in the room, when we were looking at schools and we decided at St. Joe's, we had Bergen as our safety school. So it was good. Don't worry about it. You're fine. Hey, everything's fine. Everything's fine. I grew up, I like to tell people when they say, where did you grow up? And I'm going to say where I grew up because our next recipient grew up in the same town. I like to tell people I grew up in the mean streets of Valley Cottage, New York. Not really. Valley Cottage is a small little town in Rockland County. If you grow up in Valley Cottage, you're part of the Nyack School District. Well, I'm really glad, as is St. Joe's, that George Stewart, the next member of the St. Joe's Athletic Hall of Fame, didn't go to Nyack and he became a Green Knight. George Stewart is in the SJR Athletic Hall of Fame. George Stewart graduated with the class of 1989. He's, of course, the father of two alums, his sons, both accomplished football players themselves. Evan graduated in 2018 and Shane in 2020. He was nominated by no fewer of 7 SJR graduates who touted him as Captain Badass and the best linebacker in St. Joe's history, plus a great all-around dude. But that's true. That's true, because whenever I speak of those meetings before doing a St. Joe's football game on TV, you have to remember, in the early days of the MSG, the Snapple game of the week, when we did those games on MSG and they were on Sunday mornings, those games were going out to the entire country. The entire country, from, you talk about DirecTV, from New York to California, there were people seeing Green Knights dominate all over the United States. So we took it serious. I'd meet with Tony Carson. We'd go through player by player. And inevitably, when we came to a linebacker that he really loved, he would say, hey, he's right up there with George Stewart, who, by the way, Jimmy, is the greatest linebacker we've ever had here. Amazing words from the Hall of Fame coach. George was a great leader. Everything in my book, said Tony Carson, a powerhouse and the best football player I've ever played with. Amazing. George was a 2-time first-team All-League, 2-time first-team All-County, and a 2-time first-team All-State football player. He was the first Green Knight to be recognized as an All-State player in back-to-back seasons. That's an amazing accomplishment in a football-rich state like New Jersey. That is no small feat. He was the leading tackle on the team during both the state title seasons in '87 and '88. He was the team captain in 1988. Widely recognized as one of the best linebackers in the state prior to the start of the senior year, George delivered a remarkable season in 1988. According to the New York Daily News, George recorded 85 solo tackles and had 51 assists, 3 interceptions, 3 fumble recoveries. He forced 6 fumbles, had 7 sacks, all during his senior year. Coach Carson has seen a lot of great players. He recalled a pivotal hit George delivered in the '87 title game against Bergen Catholic that completely changed the momentum of the game and delivered a clear message: St. Joe's has come to play. Carson called him very physical, very smart, an emotional leader who was known for his tenacity and leadership. He had a nose for the ball and has to be taught to others. But the most impressive thing about him is his leadership and his ability to inspire others to raise their own level of play. George was recruited by Boston College, Syracuse, Virginia, but ultimately decided to stay home, and he played at Rutgers University, where he won the school's second ever Most Improved Award. That honor went to a Green Knight, also to Jason McCourty. At Rutgers, he appeared in their annual football program during his senior year and garnered everyone's attention for playing a nationally televised game against Penn State. He had casts on both of his arms. George embodied what St. Joe's in the football program was. He was a leader on and off the field. He came back to serve the program as an assistant coach from 2015 to 2019. Here tonight to present him with his sweater is his teammate and classmate, Chris Santese. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, the newest Hall of Famer, George Stewart, everybody.
It's kind of cool when your neighbor is the introductory guy, so I appreciate Jimmy Cavallo. He's 3 doors away from where I grew up with my parents. So this is an honor. I'm humbled. I don't know what to say because when I came to St. Joe's, I didn't want to come here. I wanted to go to Nyack High School. And so St. Joe's is just a continuation of my family. So my mother, unconditional love, she said, "Why are you playing football? You're going to get hurt." So she loved me no matter what. So, and my dad said, if you're going to mop floors, be the best guy that's mopping floors out there. So, but when I was 14, 15 years old, I said, is there 20 guys mopping at the same time? And is it a race? Like, I didn't understand the concept, but when I got to St. Joe's at 1985, Coach Carson just got here. And we had Chris and I had no idea what we got into there. We had over 100 guys on the come out for freshman football. I'm going to make it brief because it's getting long, but this school is a continuation of my family, how I was brought up, and things happen for a reason, right? So all I want to do is win. And Coach Carthage, Coach Salvano, Coach Stoll, Coach Lavercio, I didn't know, my dad wanted better competition. I didn't know we had better coaches and the best coaches in the state. So I got that opportunity with the best coaches in the state, and it was us versus them. So that's it. It was us versus them, and it was personal. So it's personal, meaning it's 11 on 11. The guy in front of you wants to beat your ass and embarrass you. So we took that personally. It was us versus them. Unfortunately, a couple off the field things we took care of too. But 1987. 7-0 against the team in Oradell. I'm not even going to say their name. That was the pinnacle of high school football for me. And I don't know. I'm just humbled. So I'm gonna take this as an honor for the 87, 88, 89 football players that got the first 2 state championships back to start the streaks. So Danny Morangi, we're in good shape, by the way. Danny Morangi is going to kick some ass, and we're going to be nationally ranked very soon. Things happen for a reason. I go to St. Joe's, didn't want to go there. I went to Rutgers. What's Rutgers? Let's just go there. It's close. Let's go. I met my beautiful wife, Tracy. We had 3 beautiful kids. 2 of the boys came here. My daughter Faith's here, over there. I think the camera, there's a light right there. My sister's here. She supported me all the way through. And then my class of 1989 are here. Where you guys at?
What's up, yo?
Let's go! Steve Hayward, by the way, 1987, saved the day for St. Joe. 7-0 against the team in Oradell on defense. He blocked 2 field goals, right? Or 1 field goal, 2 interceptions, 7-0. I don't know what I'm saying right now. So, Danny Morangi, where are you at? St. Joe's High School football rules. Let's go.
Woo, George Stewart, everybody. Let's hear it for him. I mean, stayed home at Rutgers, too. I think the common denominator with all these great athletes tonight, as they stood up here and you hear some of the accolades that these guys prepared for me beautifully, is, you know, the great ones, they not only embrace the expectations, they meet the expectations. It's not, listen, being a great player is not easy because all the fans and the parents and the student body and everybody at that game in the moment, whether it's Bosco, Bergen, Teaneck, in that moment, they're thinking, where are you, Stewart? Where are you, Girault? Where are you, Gene Katz, our next recipient for the St. Joe's Hall of Fame 2021? And when you ask where they are, these guys show up. They show up. You know, it was interesting having Stewart here talking about 85. I mentioned Carthage got here 85. He left Bergen in 83. So Gene Katz graduated in 1984. And I'm just going to say, I was in that class. In 1984, hockey was football here. It was. Because when you're as good as those guys, when you're winning the state title, when you've captured the imagination of the entire student body, I mean, hockey was, think about it, hockey was the event. We would get in our cars, wherever the hockey game was, Sportorama here, Brick Township, wherever it was, the students were going to that game in great numbers, huge chanting, cheering sections. And those guys never let us down. They won the brass ring, and in the middle of it all was my buddy, number 16, Gene Katz. Great job, Gino. Gene Katz is unique amongst tonight's honorees, and he was both an exceptional hockey player and an accomplished coach for St. Joe's. In the Star Ledger's preview article for the 1983 state playoffs in his junior year, his coach, another legend, Frank Horan, said, Katz doesn't score much, but he does a great job of setting up other players. That's why he's the key guy for us when we have the puck. He's an exceptional passer. The article went on to say SJR's balanced attack is sparked by Eugene Katz. His play has been particularly important this season, as he's been a big help to his two teammates on the first line, Jeff Gazzara and the freshman Eric Reisman. Conscious perhaps of Coach Horan's comment on his goal scoring, Gene took it, I mean, let's face it, he took it personal. If your coach says he's not really a scorer in his senior year. In his senior year, he scored 37 goals and 57 assists. My goodness, in leading the Green Knights to the state title. He notched a goal and 3 assists in the state title game, a 7-6 victory over Brick Township that completed a 26-0-1 season for the Green Knights. As a sophomore, he was third-team All-League. He was second-team All-League and third-team All-State parochial as a junior. As a senior, you know what's coming. First-team All-State, along with teammate, the great Max Mittendorf. Gene also has the distinction of being one of only 2 SJR coaches. He went on to coach the hockey team here. He has the distinction of being an SJR coach to win a state championship as both a player, as a coach. Who's the other one? Augie Hoffman. Yes, sir. Gene coached 7 seasons in the 1990s, a total of 170 games. He had a wonderful record of 105, 56, and 9, a .644 winning percentage, and he led the 1991 team to both league and state championships. He was also a member of the SJR faculty from 1991 to 97. Eric Reisman, who was unable to attend tonight, is not here to put on his sweater, but here is his dad, Stanley Katz. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member of the SJR Hall of Fame, Gino Eugene Katz. Oh, here's Reisman, who sent the video message.
Not in the classroom, but in hockey. I rode the short bus with Gino every day this week. He would always come running out of the house, half dressed, and most of the time forgetting his tie. At that time, we had to wear ties. But he would never forget his knit hat with the pom-pom. And that's probably why he was bald today. This is a well-deserved recognition, and it was an honor and a privilege to play on your wing. I love you and I miss you.
That's beautiful. Here he is with his father, Stanley Katz. Eugene Katz, everybody, the Hall of Fame. Jason Gleiser will be giving him the sweater. Stanley Katz could not make it tonight. Thanks, Jay.
Unfortunately, my father couldn't be here tonight because took one of those pills that make you pee all the time, so he couldn't come out of the house. So Jason's Gleiser, teammate of mine, gave me the jacket. Thank you. Wow, spotlights. Right. What an amazing. I broke it. Okay. What an amazing night. Seeing all my old friends, they're out there somewhere, and all my old teammates. We had a hell of a run there. I'm also looking for my thing where I wanted to thank everybody. Right here on this envelope, beautiful. Look at that. The first thing I want to thank is God, of course. Okay, we come here to St. Joe's in Spanish, That's something I'll never get in the Hall of Fame for, to do in Spanish. Oh boy, you guys threw the wolves on that one. That's another story. I got to thank the school, the faculty, all the graduates, all the inductees. I want to thank all the people that organized the event. What an honor it was getting a phone call from Donnelly that morning, and he said, "Gino, you're going to the Hall of Fame." I was like, "All right, game on." I want to thank my parents. Everybody that's here tonight, and all the millions that are watching on YouTube tonight. Two of them are my parents, and I love them very much. Very fortunate to have them. All the sacrifices they made. I'd like to thank my beautiful wife Cheryl. She's out there for hearing all the Glory Day stories today. Must be so boring for her, but it was really fun. I was told to mention, and Jimmy mentioned before, to mention the Girault, Reisman, Katz. We were known as the kosher connection. And yes, the pink elephant in the room, I am Jewish, so. But they never held that against me here, and I loved it. We had a great time. Brother George and Brother Britt are here. Those tremendous guys. But Brother George has told me a story today that my father called him the day after Ash Wednesday. That came home, I had ashes on my head. My father told him, Brother George said that he was worried, he thought he was in trouble, saying his Jewish kid home with ashes. But just wanted to make sure that I didn't offend anybody. So also, I never knew that those wafers you give out taste like vanilla wafers. Price, those are good. Anyway. So as a player on the
the state. I wanted to mention as a player at the state finals, we were winning 5-0 in this state final game, and our goaltender, they finally scored on him, made it 5-1, and he took his stick and he whacked it against the goal and the post, and he threw his broken stick into the stands. It's against Bricktown, and he almost hit a cop. In fact, I think he did hit the cop, because the cop came around and called the referees over during the game. And he said, if you don't get that kid a 5-minute penalty, he'd get arrested. So unfortunately, they gave Vinny Trullo a 5-minute major, and Brick shot the puck on us 5 times during that time, and they scored 5 goals, and they went ahead 6-5. And I remember that was it was a tough time, but I remember with about 5 minutes left to go in that game, a guy named Dowd, who ended up playing for the Devils and winning a Stanley Cup, I stole the puck from him, and I scored the tying goal. And then with a couple minutes left, I had the puck and I passed it over to Eric Reisman, and he scored the winning goal. So we beat Brick 7-6 in the state championship game. That was a great. And then as a coach, my first year coaching, we won the state championships, and we beat Del Barton for the 3rd time that year. And we went into overtime, and Bob Guth scored the winning goal. So I got to thank Bobby Guth for that. That was great memories. But other than that, you know what a great microphone. But I wanted to thank everybody for coming out here tonight. This is home. I actually went on and I taught and coached at Don Bosco. That was horrible. I saw the ball there coming out one day. I was kind of embarrassed. And yeah, but you know what? St. Joe's will always be home, and I love everybody. Thank you.
Gene Katz, everybody. Oh, yeah. Great images, man, of Katz in that 37-goal campaign. You just would go to those games, and you just knew it was only a matter of time for number 16 would raise his stick in the air because he tucked another one in. It was Gene Katz met the expectations. Well, we started this night talking about a lot of different sports. And, when you think about St. Joe's and sports, it just seems like we have the great players, but then behind those great players is that coach whose image just sort of stands for success in that sport. I mean, let's face it, if you're going to have a Mount Rushmore of coaches to their sports here at St. Joe's, that Mount Rushmore is going to have a bunch of guys in this room. And one of them is for baseball. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest inductee is Coach Frank Salvano. Just a great guy, too. It's not easy when you're coaching knuckleheads to be a great guy, right? I mean, let's face it. And somehow or another, Frank Salvano always had that balance of being a great guy, whether you see him in the classrooms during the day, the hallways during the day, the lunchroom. Listen, in between the lines, it was a different story. We all know that. It was that sort of, they take on that identity. But always just, maybe because my name ended in a vowel, he was very nice to me. I don't know. He was always very nice to me. Frank Salvano retired from coaching baseball in 2015. His accomplishments here at St. Joe's are so extraordinary that the Hall of Fame 10-year rule had to be waived. We waived it. After all, he is the winningest baseball coach ever in the history of not only St. Joe's, of all of Bergen County, Coach Salvano. Coach Salvano coached 813 varsity games. His coaching record stands at 630, 182 and 1, 774 win percentage over the span of 28 years. His team averaged 22 wins per season and won at least 20 games 21 times, including 18 years in a row from 99 to 2015. He had only won a single losing season in 28 years. He coached the Green Knights to 13 league titles. His teams won more games in the Bergen County tournament than any other school in history, and his 7 county titles make him the winningest coach in the history of the Bergen County tournament. He won 6 state sectional titles, 3 state championships, and his Green Knights received the Star Legend Trophy as the top team in the state on 2 separate occasions. His 2013 team received the Ed Strohmeyer Memorial Award for sportsmanship in Bergen County baseball. His 1998 squad, led by the aforementioned great Nate Gallo, captured high school's Bergen County Triple Crown, the league, the county, and the whole enchilada, the state title. On the strength of a 30-win season, Frank Salvano was named Bergen County Coach of the Year. He is an inductee of the New Jersey High School Coaches Hall of Fame, and in 2014, he received a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Bergen County YMCA. Frank also coached bowling at St. Joe's. It's here. Frank, come on. It's in the program. This is true. And bowling is very popular now. And of course, he had a 35-year career teaching resume here at SJR. 35 years teaching here. Looking back, Frank said, when I became head coach of St. Joe's, was already a county champion under Greg Carney. But I take a lot of pride in the fact that over the next 28 years, we went on to be recognized as an elite team throughout the state of New Jersey and with national rankings. It's not even the wins or the losses or the championships as much as the relationships, said Frank, the camaraderie developing your players and your fellow coaches. I'm still in contact with many of the guys who played for me, who followed their careers, are still staying in touch. Their friendships are the things that we endure. Frank Salvano's Hall of Fame sweater, this is nice, will be put on by his son, Frank Jr., class of 2001, SJR. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Coach Salvano.
Good. I'm just so honored and thrilled when you spend, half your life at a place like I have here at St. Joe's. I'm 70, and I was here for 35 years, and they were the 35 greatest years of my life. But before we get into some of the speeches, a couple of things. Number one, John, I can't see with it. Unbelievable. You got to be a stand-up comic. Man, your speech, nobody's covering that. And the other speech, Paolo, my Paisan friend, you got me going when you said football school, man. You got me going. Football school. Well, you graduated in '82. That's before things changed around here. And then, my man Jim, you're not getting away. You're not getting away. Thank you for the speech you read out here, because you obviously have no idea what I did. You read it, and you did a good job.
I was giving you something to talk about.
But the one thing you did know, because you know the history of the football program from the bottom to the top, and you knew I was the defensive coordinator in athletic football, but you mentioned bowling coach, and never mentioned a word about football coach. And the '95 team, I'll be up here with them. Jim is silent. Can you believe it? Can you believe it?
Bowling is unique. It's not a football basketball.
No, like I said, this is a great, great honor for a place you call home for so long. I want to thank the committee and everyone, who made this possible. But there are people that made this possible. Being a coach, as all the coaches know, is the farthest thing from a one-man job. You need so many components besides yourself. And number one, the administration that I worked at St. Joe's. When I came here in 1983, Brother Peter Russell, and a lot of you old timers remember Brother Peter Russell. Brother Peter is the man who brought me here to St. Joe's, and I've been indebted to him and love him like a father. He's probably one of the greatest human beings I've ever been around. There was nothing, and the people here that know Brother Peter, there is nothing that he wouldn't do for you. He just loved it. Brother William Cushing was our first athletic director when I got here, and then later became principal. Father John Joe as principal, and here's one, Barry Donnelly. Barry is, where are you, Barry? All right, here's one thing about me and Barry. He is 35 years here. The man I know the longest in St. Joe's, more than Tony, more than my coaches, was Barry. Barry was here in 1983 when I got here. I think Barry started working here when he came out of the womb. So we've had a long relationship. When I started, I was a teacher, history teacher, phys ed teacher, and Barry was the school treasurer, right, Barry? I don't hear him. Barry, thank you for everything you've done. And also, as athletic director, working for him in football. My boss, one of my best friends, and a mentor to me, Tony Carthage. Learned so much from Tony, not just in football, but a lot of other things in life. Great guy. And he'll be up here boring you to death later. Next, I also want to thank my family, my beautiful wife, Debbie, who's by my side at all times, my number one fan, my number one supporter, only person at time games, those games, well, you baseball players know those March and April days when it's 30 degrees and the wind is blowing. Debbie was there, always supporting me. Not always agreeing with me, but supporting me. My son Frank, who played for me, coached for me, and is now a very successful coach in Bergen County himself. So, and this is just one of the 4 precious grandchildren that I have that right now are my life. They are everything to me. Give yourself a hand. Some of the people I also want to thank, besides administration and family, and their names have been up here, and they're up here for a reason. And those are the people who contributed. I call them contributors. When I first got here, and people like Mike Neglia, Steve Haywood, some of the older, people out here, we had one field that went forever. From home plate to center field was like 500 feet. Home field to left field was another 500 feet, and there was nothing in between. But my dream and Brother Peter's dream in the 90s was to get a JV and freshman baseball field. And I want to thank the Donalo family. They were the ones who were responsible for that. I want to thank the Scott family, who rebuilt our varsity field, the Plesher family, who built our batting cages, and the indoor and outdoor batting cages. I want to thank the Gardella family and the Neglia family. I don't know, Mike, can I say that you, and Jimmy, can I say that you gave me money for some baseball plays? Is that all right? I don't work here anymore, so you can't find me. Yeah, there were a lot of players that we had that we would not have been able to get here unless we could work it out and, notice the names: Salvano, Gardella, Neglia, a little bit of that, but that's all right. Also, 2 more, my coaches. Like I said, my coaches, I have been lucky to have some of the greatest coaches. Unfortunately, my right-hand man and best coach, Jim Hubner, is not here tonight. But the greatest pitcher, let's get back to football. Where's Stewart? Stewart, where are you? Over here. All right. Stop with that block punt stuff with Haywood. Haywood was the best pitching coach ever at St. Joe's, and I'll tell you a quick story, because let me just give you a little on. We won too many. I can't talk about each championship because you'll fall asleep. But our first county championship in 1988, you listening, George? It's not a block punt. Semifinals. Steve, you here? You better be here. Semifinals against Indian Hills. He pitches a complete game, 2 or 3 hitter. We go on to the finals against Don Bosco. Okay? Now, this was back in the day where baseball rules aren't like they are today, and even see the major leagues with, management and time management, and I need 5 days, and my elbow hurts, and my arm hurts, and my ass hurts, and my knee. It's hard to watch now. That guy's got standing 6'7", 280. He needs maintenance days. Please. Be that as it may, we get into the championship game, and we have one of our great pitchers, Mike Carney. And we're beating Moscow 5-1 going into the 7th inning. Now, mind you, Steve pitched a complete game the day before against Indian Hills. So Mike gets in trouble. And I look over at Steve and I said, Steve, you got anything? You got anything? He goes, Coach, let me go. Goes to the bullpen, warms up, bases loaded. We bring Steve in. First pitch to the first batter is over the backstop. I'm saying, holy shit. And this is is my first year as head coach. This ain't gonna last long, man. After that, now, these were Bosco 3 Division I plays in a row. One of them is the new principal at Don Bosco, Joe Ascolino. He was in the middle of everyone. 9 straight strikes at about 92 to 93. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. That trumps your block punt. Like I said, my coaches and the final thing and the most important is all the championships, you know, we could talk about. The most important thing is the relationships that I have built over the years with the players, going back to 1984, starting with like Mike Neglia when he played on the 84 team, up until 2017, you know, when I left. And I've been blessed with some of the most talented players in the nation, major league players who I speak to every day. Tommy LaStella at the Giants, I talk to him constantly. Pat Kimmelhan just got recalled by the San Diego Padres. We talk constantly. And not only that, going back to players who coach me, and they're here tonight. Brian Couch, who was one of the greatest pitchers that ever came to St. Joe's and led us to our first state championship in '93. Nowadays, if you see Brian, he can't catch a line drive off the bat of his daughter, broke his hand, my God. But in 1993, Brian Couch was about 140 pounds, and I trotted him out every third day to win a state championship. And his arm never hurt. He didn't need a maintenance day. He didn't oot. He didn't nod. He didn't have to put ice on his arm, his nose, or his ass. He came and he played. Also, we got another good, Mike Yanazone played for me, also coached for me. We also had Terrence Hanneman. What I'm getting is that the relationships just never end. One of my players is now my godson, Brendan Logan. I confirmed him. And all the championships are great, but there's nothing like the relationships that you build. And finally, every time, and my son could tell you, any of my players could tell you, the first day of practice and all through the year, the first thing we would stress is, yes, we want to win. Yes, we want to be the best. But we are family. We are family first. And the one thing I take out of my coaching career, even more than all the championships, is that I had a family for 35 years that will stay with me forever. God bless everybody that was ever in my life. God bless St. Joe's. This is one of the greatest days of my life. I love you.
Frank Salvano, everybody. Salvano, the leader of men, baseball, football, and of course, bowling, brother. You know, it's amazing. Our final individual honor is bestowed upon an outstanding contributor and really a guy who was an unsung hero to SJR athletics. You know, it's every great athletic institution, whether it's college, high school, professional, It just has that one individual, it could be a male, it could be a female, that just makes the whole thing go, puts the thing in motion. It's the guy the head coach has to call and say, we have to get this done. Can you get it done? He gets it done. That guy, for a long time here, is Jerry Coretta. Jerry Coretta is someone who has committed his heart and soul to SJR athletics. Jerry Coretta is an alumni parent of Dominic in 2002 and Stephen in 2007. Jerry ran the Green Knights football apparel shop at all home games for 20 years, from 1996 to 2016. It was a labor of love, an integral part of the operation of the Touchdown Club during that time. His initial interest in the SJR football program and school in general began as a result of a friendship with Lou Taylor, an alumni parent from West Patterson, whose son Louis was the kicker for the Green Knights. Jerry supplied the program with postseason championship sweaters and jackets beginning in 1993 and took over the clothing shack during the 96-97 school year. Prior to that, the Touchdown Club sold clothing on a very limited hit-and-miss basis, but Jerry's involvement with the football program was a labor of love and turned it into a great success. He organized the Touchdown Club parents, who naturally changed from year to year, and he would organize and expand the line of merchandise available and just get all these parents involved, because it was always a new batch of parents. As Coach Carson would say, Jerry put his heart and soul into everything that he did for the program, adding that outside of previous Hall of Famer Bill Weidman, Jerry was the single most important figure in 20 years of running the Touchdown Club. He was at every game, every football dinner, every football reunion. He would always talk up SJR to the visitors he met and prospective students he saw. He loved our kids. He loved our school. He was truly our biggest fan. Eventually, when the school shifted to the seasonal polo shirts instead of everyday shirts and ties, Jerry got involved with the school store as well. In the era before Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, Jerry supplied polo shirts, sweats, caps, jackets, all-purpose athletic gear. Former Principal Barry Donnelly noted, Jerry was always a pleasure to deal with, a true gentleman, a complete professional. He checked every detail and every order and design to make sure it was exactly what we wanted. When August rolled around, you could be sure Jerry would show up personally to oversee the delivery of items for the opening school year. He took tremendous pride in his relationship with St. Joe's and worked very hard to make sure that every delivery had his name on it and was absolutely perfect. With the transformation of SJR to Under Armour in 2015, and now at Nike School, the addition of mobile orders and online purchasing, the process of ordering team gear is now big, and sometimes in personal business, Jerry Coretta oversaw everything. He did SJR firsthand, and for 2 decades, St. Joseph Regional High School was the benefactor of pride and care he took in his work. It is a pleasure to welcome and recognize Jerry Coretta as an exceptional contributor to the SJR program. Jerry's son, Stephen, from the class of 2007, will present him with his sweater. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, besides all this stuff, this is one hell of a guy. Okay, when we came with the crew from MSG, Jerry Coretta was there to meet us. He's a reflection of what a St. Joe's guy is. He's a good guy. Put your hands together for the newest Hall of Famer, Jerry Coretta, everybody.
The room was completely black.
This is Jerry singing too. There they are, the Corettas, everybody. Nice job.
Dedicated
kick in the head. Jimmy, I have nothing bad to say about you. I love you. Thank you. My journey to here is very different than everybody else's, and congratulations to all the inductees that came in front of me. I'm different because I'm really here to say thank you to St. Joe's. Everybody else in front of me, St. Joe's is thanking them. I'm here to say thank you to St. Joe's. Tony Carthage, you are more to me and my family than you can possibly know. These two boys standing here are who they are in part because of you. And I might add your wife, Linda. She's even better than me. Barry Donnelly, what can I say? I have stepped on the fields here, into the halls, as Jimmy so eloquently mentioned, for many, many years. Barry, you always met me and everybody else with a warm smile, a friendly handshake, and most of the times a camera. Thank you, Barry. To the rest of the committee that nominated and made me part of this truly, truly special group, thank you, committee. It is humbling to be recognized with all these great people that have come up here before me. Now a little trip back in time. From the first time I brought my two boys, as was mentioned, from a friend of mine that recommended I come, we walked onto this field, and I know I left saying, my boys are going here. And Dominic felt the same way. Stevie was 5 years younger, so he's kind of just feeling his way around. He's just happy to be here. But Dom said he couldn't wait to be a Green Knight. And truthfully, the main point about this is that my life, obviously theirs because they were here, but my life and my wife Linda's life are better having had the opportunity to be part of the St. Joe's family. Now, none of this is funny. None of this is a great story, but it is a story about what St. Joe's is really all about. That somebody like me gets the opportunity to stand up here and say thank you to St. Joe's for being what you are. And that is the real point. The crew on the left, my left, so I don't mess that up. The crew on the left, all of Dominic and Steve's friends, some of their parents, you are all awesome. You have stayed with the Corettas and will always be in the Corettas' hearts. And I love you all. And so does Linda very much. To the current administration here, Kevin Logan, I wish you continued success. Please keep making St. Joe's what it is, because it's very important. Thank you for this great honor.
Beretta family, everybody. And a big night for Jerry. And now we move on to the team portion. The 1981 basketball team was nominated by Brother William Cushing, who served as St. Joe's athletic director for 17 years. According to longtime head coach Mike Doherty, this squad is the standard by which all other SJR teams are measured even to this day. The team won the most games ever in a single season, 26. They captured St. Joe's' first ever Bergen Jamboree Championship and the lone state sectional title, and earned the NNJPC League crown with a 17-1 conference mark. In the Jamboree, the number 2 seeded Knights defeated Englewood and Creswell in the first 2 rounds, before really making the loud and clear statement that SJR was tops in Bergen County by defeating Pascack Valley by 30 in the state semis and cruising to an 18-point victory over Pascack Hills in the championship game. SJR went on to defeat St. Peter's Prep, Hudson Catholic, and rival Queen of Peace to capture the NJSIAA Parochial A North sectional title. Head coach Dennis Rossi was the fiery sideline leader who was responsible for instilling the team's trademark tough man-to-man defense that held Pascack Hills to a tournament-low 27 points in the championship game. 27 points. The 27 points is still the lowest total allowed in the championship round of the Jamboree. That's a frustrating night for Pascack Hills. Senior leadership and balance were the cornerstones of this team. 4 stars, Darryl Rochester, Bobby Maddox, Paul Walther, and Jim Skevin all averaged between 9 and 13 points a game. So keying on one another was a tough task for opponents. Fellow seniors Chris Tierney, Mike LaRosa, Rob Whippler were also in the thick of things throughout the season, playing critical minutes and making key contributions. Skevin was first-team All-County selection, while Walther earned second-team honors, and Rossi was recognized as the Bergen Coach of the Year. To give a sense of talent of the senior group, not one member of the class of '82, a team that also won the Bergen County Championship title following the following season, could crack the starting lineup, and that included a certain junior guard named Mike Doherty, who remains the only person whose name appears on all 5 county titles, 2 as a player and 3 as a coach. Mike earned his 500th win in 2019 and remains one of the most respected coaches in all of Bergen County. Remember I said Mount Rushmore, we talk basketball, it's Coach Doherty. So it's my pleasure to call forward the members of the 1981 basketball team present tonight, and to introduce them will speak for this group Coach Dennis Rossi, Darryl Rochester, and Bob Mattis. Ladies and gentlemen, the 81 champs are here, and they're part of the Hall of Fame.
Just we played really good defense, and thank God we did because we played horrendous offense.
It's time to come together.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to thank the administration of St. Joe's and the committee for all the hard work that they put into this. Just want to say that when Tom Curry, who was my assistant, and I came here in 1976 around Christmas time, after the first practice, we only had about 7 kids left. And he said to me, the best thing about this job is Tice's Farms Donuts. So, but as the next couple of years, we got some really good young talent, and this was the epitome of it. And I'm especially proud of Michael Doherty for all the work that he's done here. He took over for me after my second time as coach here in, what was it, 1989, Mike? Yeah. And Brother William, who was the athletic director, said, he's too young, we're not going to take him. And I said, you're making a big mistake. And we went out. So just want to say I've coached, had the privilege to coach at 4 different high schools over the years. And thank God had a lot of success, but this was the best team that I ever coached. Thanks.
It's been a great 2 days for the guys. Last night we got together at Charlie Barthel's house, and we were discussing, some of the tough teams we played during that season. And ironically, Mike LaRosa mentioned, he said, Bob, because I think maybe the best team we played was actually ourselves. And he was right. Michael Doherty, Pete Mazurek, Robert Whippler, Charlie Barthel, those guys were on our bench. I mean, and they're the 1982 county champions. Our practices were as good as it got. Coach Rossi, he had a good way of tweaking us. He would love to, he'd always walk by and say, man, Mazurek's getting ready to take your position. I'd be like hell he is, and he'd be able to stir up a lot of the intensity in a locker room. Dennis was great with that. As a matter of fact, there was a practice after our only loss to Paramus Catholic, and we had a substitute coach, Mike. What was his name? John Fiocchi, and John was right. We weren't concentrating. We were goofing off. I guess we thought we were reading the press, and he walked out of the gym and he said, "You guys are going to lose, against Paramus Catholic." We kind of laughed at that. Well, lo and behold, Jimmy Skevin, who in my opinion is probably the best basketball player in Bergen County at the time, had a fever and come down with a flu. So sure enough, we went in there shorthanded and we got our asses handed to us. The next day we had practice like 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. And usually when you go to practice, the balls are bouncing, guys are throwing balls around laughing. Walk into the gym, there's no basketballs. And I'm looking around, I look at Darryl, it was one of the first faces I saw, and he's just kind of shaking his head. Coach Rossi told us that it would be, if we didn't want to touch a basketball last night, there was no reason to touch a basketball this morning. We had a 2-hour practice without basketball. It was then that I realized that this team needed that kick in the ass, and Dennis gave it to us, and I think Dennis is the big reason why we were able to overcome that particular game and move throughout the season and be the success that we were. I also want to mention another thing is we never had a 1,000-point score. In my opinion, though, we had 2 guys, Paul Walter and Jimmy Skevin, who was as good as any 1,000-point scorer in the county. And I'll close with that. Thank you.
I didn't pick St. Joe's. St. Joe's picked me. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't pick St. Joe's. St. Joe's picked me. And I think when we, as freshmen, we all came in this auditorium, and I had no clue anything about St. Joe's, about Catholic high school. And when I looked around, there was only 2 other black guys here. And I was like, ooh. But I was here to play basketball. I was here to play basketball. And I bring that up because we all know that the climate of what happened in the last year has been crazy. But I got to tell all of you this story, and they asked me to tell you the story last night. That was not my experience when I came to St. Joe's. This school represented just hard work. That's all it ever meant. It just meant, hey, look, come here, bust your ass, and you'll play, right? And we loved each other. Sometimes we hated each other. But the administration, thank you. The teachers, thank you. The classes before us, thank you. To my friends, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for not making it an experience for me that was ugly, right? And to all the other people, everybody else who won, take a look around at the pictures that were up on the screen. It's pretty impressive. It's impressive how much St. Joe's has changed for the good. And that's really special. This place is special. It's deep in all of our hearts. And the basketball part of that conversation, like Bobby was just saying, we used to just slug it out. And I mean on the court and off the court. I'll just tell you one quick story how tough things were. Is like I said, is Skevin, he was the man. Skevin was the man back then. To my knowledge, we were the first team to eat basketball team. Someone said it earlier that this was a football school, right? We were the first team to even make the jamboree, right? The first class that we were in would ever make the jamboree, right? And Skevin was a beast. As a freshman, Skevin was 6'4", 6'5", 204 pounds. And Dennis used to say, give him the ball and all of us line up and take charges from the brick. But the part I want to tell you about Skevin, how awesome he was, I don't remember what school it was, but we got into a scuffle with a team, Queen of Peace, and a guy sucker punched him and knocked all his teeth out in the front, all 4 teeth in the front. And Whip will tell you, he was the lead of all this craziness that we used to do, but we slugged it out with them then and then kicked their ass. And Skevin had to wear a mask for the rest of the season, right? But a beast. The guy was a beast. And like I said, and I'm gonna leave it here for all the other people that came after us from a basketball perspective. Jim, you're doing a great job, man. You're doing a great job. It's great to hear. I'm sorry, I said Jim, I meant Mike. Mike, you're doing a great job. It's great to hear all the success. And we really appreciate, St. Joe. So thank you.
There they are, the 81 champs, everybody. Don't worry, Con. I'll see if we can take that out of here. Before we get to our final honorees, oh man, don't fail me now. A couple of quick housekeeping items. I'd like to thank Sherry Saccoletti for volunteering her services behind the camera tonight. Ask all of our individual honorees return to the stage after our program for a group photo. Big shout out to Melissa Urish from SJR Advancement Office for all her work and coordinating details of tonight's program. Great job, Melissa. We'd also like to thank Craig Janos for filming tonight's festivities. And to Evan Hone, class of 2014, for live streaming it. Finally, thanks to MJB Catering for providing all the food and desserts you enjoyed during the cocktail hour. Mr. Joe Laguidice, SJR's Director of Campus Ministry, for attending to the bar this evening. And looking ahead, Green Knights Golf Classic will take place Monday, July 12th at the Rockland Country Club. Our 2021 Alumni Homecoming will take place October 2nd, and the inaugural Green and Gold Gala will take place November 4th at the Edgewood Country Club. Finally, you can check out all the updated scores, photos, stories, and schedules on our brand new SJR Athletic website. It is sjrathletics.com. And now to our final inductees of the night. In a program that's had so many memorable teams, the 1990 football team was a team of firsts, and tonight, the boys of 95 from the gridiron enter the SJR Athletic Hall of Fame. That was a team of firsts. First team to go 11-0. The first team to be ranked number 1 in the state of New Jersey, and the first to earn a national ranking, a top 10 ranking, number 8 in the country by USA Today, and they capped it off by being the first St. Joe's team to play a title game at Giant Stadium. It was a team that had 2 players with over 1,000 yards rushing. Junior Cooper Rigo, who finished with 1,633, and senior Henry Polio, who had a mere 1,018 yards and 15 touchdowns for Big Henry. Green Knights needed the best from both of them in the state finals at Giant Stadium, as they fell behind DePaul 19-6 in the second quarter. Rigo scored 2 touchdowns to give Joe's a 26-19 lead, but with 3 minutes left, the turnover led DePaul to a score, and the Spartans tied the game. But as they had done all year, St. Joe's, the Green Knights, just kept coming, mounted a 2.5-minute march downfield, culminated with Polio's 11-yard touchdown run with just 38 seconds left on the clock. They had a 32-26 lead, and they had a victory to cap the undefeated season, the first ever at SJR. Cooper Rigo, first-team All-State, and would go on to have a legendary season as a senior. Henry Polio, St. Joe's most outstanding senior athlete, had a remarkable St. Joe's career, playing 4 years of football and baseball, and wrestled for all 4 years, earning 9 varsity letters, 3 more than any other senior that year. He was the recipient of the New York Downtown Athletic Club High School Heisman Award, named for the Player of the Year by the NFL Players Association. First team All-State, all groups honoree. Amazing. But aside from Rigo, yes, give it up for Henry. Oh, Henry. But aside from Rigo and Polio, the list of standout athletes on the 95 football team is deep and distinguished. Also earning all-league honors, offensive tackle Michael Bertolino, defensive back Angel Colon, tight end Tim Dinkelmeyer, linebacker Mikey Perrone, guard Adrian Puzio, and of course, Cooper Rigo and Henry Polio. Most impressively, Bertolino, Colon, Polio, Puzio, and Rigo were all first-team All-County and first-team All-State honorees at their respective positions. That is ridiculous. This team exemplified in a special way the phrase student-athlete. 7 of its members were ranked among the top 11 members of the class of 1996 academically. It was truly, as the Guardian proclaimed, a giant victory, one that will forever be solidified the reputation of the 95 squad as one of the most exceptional teams in the storied history of SJR football and this program. Ladies and gentlemen, our final recipients tonight, let's hear it for the boys of 95, the original undefeated team, and now members of the Hall of Fame, 95 SJR football. Who else will speak on their behalf but the skipper, Tony Karsich.
me. You play with your heart. You refuse to be wrong. You run to the ball. You sell out. Every play, we sell out. That's real out. That's how we got here. That's how we got here.
All right, well, let's get this to work. First of all, I want to thank the 1995 team for asking me to be here this evening to say a few words about this great team. We have some staff members here. I saw Walt Stoll earlier. I'm not sure he's still here, but Walt Stoll, Frank Salvano, who also was a football coach, besides being a bowling coach. Dan Polio, our strength coach, who's here, and Ronnie Barbaroux, I see, is right here too. So if I missed somebody, I apologize. But I want to congratulate all of tonight's recipients, and if we had time, I would love to tell you a few other stories behind the lines, but we don't have that much time. So I'm just going to keep focused on the 95 group. This was a great group of young men. It was a coach's dream to have this group of men. They were, first of all, it was mentioned, they were very intelligent. That was true. There were 7 of our players were in the top 11 in their class rank. They were hardworking. They were unselfish. They had great team chemistry, played with a lot of confidence. And what I loved about them, they embraced the challenge. They loved the big moment. And we had a lot of big moments that year. Their attitude basically came down to this. It was about finding a way. That was our motto. And that stayed with our program for all these years. Find a way. And that's, when you think about it, a lot to do with life. But to really appreciate this team, I think you have to know a little about the history prior to 1995. If you go back just a little bit, in 85, 86, when I first got here, it was about, let's just have a winning program down by that school down the road here in Oradell. And in 88, we came right back to back, and we thought, like, wow, this is going to be great, the beginning of a dynasty. And then 1989 happened. We won our first 10, on our way for our 3rd consecutive championship. And all of a sudden, we fumble on the one going in. St. Peter's Prep, to their credit, goes 99 yards. We lose, and I've never been more depressed, frustrated in any season. And it carried over, it seemed, for the next 5 years. We really struggled. We made the playoffs every year. 3 times we finished second, and twice we lost in the semifinals. And then these guys in 1995 came along. We had great expectations. We had a great preseason. Started the season off really great. Eventually, the road to success had to go through Oradell. They had beat us 35-0 in 1994, and we ended up going down there around mid-season. Excuse me, they came to St. Joe's. And what happened, interesting, real quick, the game was supposed to be on a Saturday. The forecast was for heavy rain. We were a very bright and very quick team. Bergen was a big physical team. We knew we had a much better chance on a fast track. So after practice on Friday, the coaches, all the players, we got together. We laid out plastic. We covered the field with plastic. It was all the grass field.
And that day it rained all day. Sunday morning, the touchdown club, led by, at that time, actually, Joe Scott, got some kind of a tractor from a golf course, and they was sucked up the water on the sidelines. But the bottom line, the field was dry. I remember the Bergen coach, Freddie Stangl, came off the bus and kidded around. I didn't know if I should bring my fishing rod or not, because our field was a quagmire. I said, oh, you'd be really happy. We covered the field. You never saw a guy get so depressed. We had a dry field, and it really, from hash to hash, was almost like it was dusty. It was our kind of field. But that said, they jumped on us 9-0, and then all the, indecision and question marks started like, uh-oh, here we go again. Well, not these guys. They scored the next 30 points. Bergen was ranked #1 going into that game, and we beat them 30-9. That was on a Sunday afternoon. That Friday, 5 days later, because of Bergen now being beaten, losing their #1 ranking, Hackensack became the new #1 team, and we were playing at Hackensack on a Friday night. Normally you'd be a little concerned about a little bit of letdown, especially beating a team like Bergen Catholic. Not these guys. At the halftime, we were up 28-0, went on to win 35-7. And then the only thing left was the state finals. As it was mentioned earlier, we played in Giant Stadium. We played an undefeated DePaul team, extremely well coached. Opening kickoff, they went down to the 8-yard line, punched it in. Before you know it, we were down by 13 points. But we had been there before. We understood what it would take. We came back, and bottom line is, with about 2 minutes in the game, it's tie score. We got the ball, and we did put a little wrinkle in at halftime. And all I remember is we went down that field, Polio up the middle, Cooper running to his left, Angel running to his right. We went right down the field, and with, I guess it was 38 seconds, Henry scored the winning touchdown, and the game known as the drive. So it's first undefeated team, #1 in the state, as we mentioned, and #8 in USA Today. And I think they created a new standard of success. From 1985, just hoping to win, here we were now, becoming the #1 team in the state and one of the top teams in the country. The next 4 years saw 2 more undefeated teams, 2 more #1 rankings in New Jersey, and top 10 in the nation. So tonight, I think it was mentioned earlier by Mr. Gallo, Nick Gallo mentioned, these guys really did pave the way for what is now known as St. Joe's football. We're here tonight to thank them for helping elevate our program, not only to congratulate them, but to thank them for elevating our program to a totally different level. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
The one and only Coach K and the boys of 95. Hey, we really want to thank everybody for being here tonight. We ask that all the recipients stick around for their photo. Thanks again for being here. It's been quite a year, and it's good to see everybody here mask-free. God bless. Have a great night. Congratulations to all the members of the Hall of Fame. Come up for your picture. We'll see you next year. Thanks a lot.